Hey boys, those that are going to schoolies and to those that are barely legal, cannot wait to meet you. And I'm in Bali, so you know exactly what that means.
Bonnie Blue really went and did the unthinkable. She didn't end up in some fake prank jail or a staged TikTok skit this time. She landed herself in a real-life cell, locked up by actual government officials who have zero interest in hearing about her collabs. And for someone who seems to speedrun controversy everywhere she goes, Bonnie just broke her own record with this one. Her wild Bali adventure took a hardcore turn the second she touched down. The 26-year-old was pulled in for questioning at a police station in Kota after being spotted talking with two people, one of them believed to be her lawyer, which already told everyone this situation wasn't just messy, it was serious. She proudly announced her arrival last week, but nobody expected things to flip this fast. After spending the past year treating the whole world like her personal adults-only playground, she somehow thought it was smart to pull up in her bang bus. Yes, that infamous one TikTok cannot stop reposting, and roll it straight into Bali, a country where literally everything she built her brand on is illegal. It was a wild move that had people asking if she even Googled the place before flying out. Then came the hammer drop. Indonesian authorities confirmed Bonnie was detained over actual graphic content violations, real charges, handled by real officers who absolutely do not care how many videos she's gone viral for. This wasn't about online drama, no moral debates, no culture battle clickbait, just strictly the law coming down on her. Heavy. And the moment police stepped in, the whole vibe flipped instantly. People who used to brush off her antics were suddenly speechless because everyone realized she wasn't in the UK or the States anymore, where adult creators pretty much move freely. Asia plays by different rules, and Bonnie walked straight into them like she couldn't see the signs right in front of her. Now the internet is buzzing, saying she might actually be done for real this time. Even longtime fans admitted this situation feels way too close to that legendary Vitali incident. The same kind of chaos, the same kind of heat, but now wrapped around someone whose whole brand is pushing limits until something snaps. This time, it looks like the snap came from the law itself. In the States, someone can troll, harass, and stir up drama all day long and barely catch more than a warning. Maybe a fine, maybe a court date. Nothing that really sticks. But overseas? Whole different game. Look at that one dude who got himself locked up in the Philippines for a year. That should have been a wake-up call for anyone traveling wild. But with Bonnie, people low-key saw this coming from miles away. She's been treating this year like an international adult content world tour that absolutely nobody asked for. First, she hit the UK, causing chaos everywhere she parked that bus. Then she bounced to Australia.
Controversial content creator Bonnie Blue has been detained by police in Bali over alleged pornographic activities. The British woman was banned from Australia and its schoolies celebrations, heading instead to Indonesia.
And instead of leaving the giant bus behind like any normal person would, she legit shipped it across the entire planet, like it was some rare artifact from a billionaire's private vault. At this point, her bus might have more miles than she does. And honestly, what do you think is racking up more mileage right now, Bonnie or the bus? It's become a running joke online, but the situation stopped being funny real quick once the authorities stepped in. And you'd think, just maybe, before filming adult content in a whole different country on a whole different continent, she would check the laws, right? Ask someone on her team? Google literally anything? Nope. Instead, she hopped on Instagram and posted, "Bali legal boys, I'm in Bali," with a kissing emoji like she was clocking into paradise instead of a legal nightmare. Everyone saw that and went, wow. That's not a caption. That's basically a confession, because Indonesia isn't playing around with this stuff. They have some of the strictest anti-adult content laws on the planet. No gentle warnings, no polite messages asking someone to take something down. They don't negotiate. They arrest first and explain later. So when authorities raided her villa, which already sounded like the opening scene of a cursed Netflix documentary nobody wants to star in, they didn't walk in on Bonnie filming some casual spicy TikTok. No. What they found was way more serious, and that's when people realized this wasn't a plot twist. This was the consequences finally catching up to her. When police stormed that villa, they didn't just find Bonnie chilling, they found her whole operation. Foreign men everywhere, cameras set up, outfits laid out, props stacked in piles, and enough adult supplies to stock a whole warehouse. At this point, nobody knows who has more adult gear than Bonnie Blue. It's like she travels with a full studio in her suitcase. Authorities detained her, some random 28-year-old Australian guy, 2 British dudes, and 1 woman who seemed to be part of her crew. But the guys got released almost instantly, probably because they were just background characters in what people are now calling the Bonnie Blue cinematic universe. Bonnie, though? Yeah, she didn't move an inch. When you organize, film, produce, and star in content that's flat out illegal in that country, you're not walking out for a casual dinner. You're staying exactly where the cops put you. Then Bali police dropped their official inventory list, and it was so outrageous people thought it had to be a parody. They seized cameras, lighting rigs, stacks of flash drives, rubber props, bottles of lube, 9 pink necklaces, and outfits literally labeled School Bonnie Blue. They even confiscated 2 full sheets of Viagra, which pretty much confirmed that nobody involved had any reason to be there except filming. "Are you happy what you stand?" became the quote everyone online kept repeating because the whole thing felt unreal.
Adult content creator Bonnie Blue, who'd been offering her services to, quote, barely legal schoolies, has had her Australian visa cancelled. 7 News understands the Department of Home Affairs made the decision because the British woman was advertising the fact she was going to work in Australia despite being on a 12-month visitor visa.
But the wildest twist? Just when everyone thought this story couldn't get more ridiculous, Indonesian authorities announced Bonnie is facing additional charges over the bus color. And no, this is not a joke. Her registration said the bus was supposed to be white. Bonnie went ahead and painted it dark blue without updating a single document. So now she's in trouble, not just for illegal content, but for a whole unregistered repaint job. Imagine sitting in a jail cell in a foreign country and an officer tells you, "Look, Bonnie, the adult content is serious, but that paint color? That's where we draw the line." It sounds like a sitcom script, but it's very real. And Bonnie is learning the hard way that Bali doesn't play around. And the internet did exactly what the internet always does. It went wild. People were celebrating like it was some holiday, and even begging Indonesian authorities to crank the sentence up higher. Meanwhile, locals in Bali started speaking out online, warning everyone that this situation was way more serious than the memes made it seem. Indonesia has a long history of making examples out of foreigners who break their morality laws, and they do it openly, not quietly. And Bonnie? She wasn't some tiny violation. She pulled up like a full walking billboard for everything the government has been trying to shut down. So when immigration officers stepped in, grabbed her passport, detained her team, and officially barred her from leaving the country, everyone realized this wasn't another goofy Bonnie Blue headline. This turned into a real criminal case faster than anyone expected. No going home, no cute posts trying to spin the narrative, no apology video with soft music, nothing. This is literally Bonnie versus the Indonesian government, and that is not a matchup anyone wants to be in. So what happens next? Honestly, it could go one of 3 ways. The most likely outcome is deportation. They boot her out, ban her from returning for a few years, and send her home with the most uncomfortable airport story anyone could imagine. It's embarrassing, but she'd at least be free. The second option? An actual jail sentence. Indonesia hands out months, sometimes years, for producing adult content, especially if the case gets big attention. And Bonnie's case is already all over global news, so that pressure can make things way harsher. And then there's the third possibility, the worst one by far, getting stuck in administrative detainment for months on end. No trial, no timeline, just sitting there waiting while the case moves at the slowest pace imaginable. That's the outcome people are afraid of, because once you're in that system, it's not about fame, followers, or trending hashtags. You move when they say you move. Right now, Bonnie is probably sitting in that Bali jail or detainment center just staring at the wall, wondering why she didn't spend 10 seconds Googling 5 simple words. Is adult content illegal in Indonesia? And yes, that's 6 words. But honestly, that tiny detail fits the whole chaos of Geyser situation.
Hey guys! Are you happy? What's your plan, Mike? What's your plan? Any comments?
Any comment, Mr. Green Day?
Any comment, guys?
The entire thing feels unbelievable because she walked straight into this with zero preparation. For the past 2 years, she's been flexing nonstop. The millions she made, her elite management, her so-called influence, her claims that nothing could touch her. But in the end, none of that protected her. Bonnie is now stuck in Bali, not able to leave, not able to control anything, with no real idea of what's coming next. She went from world touring creator to sitting in a detention cell wondering how everything flipped so fast. Her bus is impounded, Her team is detained, her image is falling apart. Even though, let's be real, her reputation was already struggling before this whole mess. And now her freedom is entirely in the hands of a legal system that does not care about clout, followers, viral numbers, or any of the things she built her persona around. Out there, none of that matters. A lot of people don't realize how different things are outside the West. In places like the UK, jail time can be surprisingly light. You could commit something extremely serious and still have a chance of serving 15 to 20 years or less. If you steal something, many times you're not even getting jail, maybe a suspended sentence, and you walk home the same day. But in parts of Asia, completely different world. Laws hit way harder, punishments can be strict, and authorities don't play games with violations. People were joking online, saying if you steal over there, they'll take every limb you've got. And obviously, that's exaggerated. But the point stands, consequences are real and serious. And Bonnie walked right into that system like nothing could touch her. Now she's finding out the hard way that fame doesn't override foreign law. And that's a lesson she never expected to learn behind bars. So I looked up what Indonesia actually hands out for producing or distributing adult content, and the range is wild, anywhere from 6 months all the way up to 15 years. 15. Now realistically, they're not throwing the max at her, that would be extreme. But a few months, maybe a year, that's not impossible. What's more likely is that she stays stuck in detainment for a while as officials decide her fate, and then they eventually deport her and hit her with a ban so she can't come back. I honestly doubt they'll send her to full-on prison. But you never really know. Depending on how they view her case, they could go harsher just to make an example out of her. I'm not from Asia, so if anyone watching is Indonesian, drop your insight in the comments because I'm curious how locals see this. Either way, the whole situation is painfully obvious. She made a reckless move, and now she's dealing with consequences she never thought she'd face. It's wild to watch, but also a reminder that acting untouchable doesn't fly everywhere. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I'm really trying to hear different perspectives on this crazy situation. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe to the BeyondFame channel, and share the video. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one.